Welcome back to GameCube Gallery. In GameCube Gallery, we are taking a look at the GameCube library one game at a time. In the previous episode of GameCube Gallery, we took a detailed look at Super Monkey Ball 2. Well, in today's episode, we're going to change gears quite a bit, and we're going to look at Disney's Tarzan Untamed. Disney's Tarzan Untamed was released on the Nintendo GameCube and the PlayStation 2 on November 18th, 2001, and the GameCube version was a launch title for the console, and it was published by Ubisoft and developed by Ubisoft Montreal. Tarzan Untamed is an action-adventure game that takes place after the defeat of Clayton in the 1999 animated Disney film Tarzan. Jane and Tarzan are now married, and after a period of peace, there is now a new threat to Tarzan and the jungle. A man named Oswald Gardner and his team of British explorers have invaded the jungle, and they want to capture Tarzan and bring him back to England as a sort of circus or show attraction to make money off of. To be honest, the story in Tarzan Untamed is pretty generic and unforgettable, but at least it serves as a vehicle to progress the gameplay. Tarzan Untamed is fully voice acted, and the cutscenes look really good with some good animations, so the game has some decent production values, although some of the voice acting is not that great. They were unable to get all of the cast members from the 1999 movie, but they did manage to get the voice actor for Tarzan and Professor Porter, so that was nice. The cutscenes managed to mostly capture the look and feel of the animated movie, but in video game form, and all in all, I'm pretty happy with the visuals. The environmental textures look pretty decent, there are plenty of background elements off in the distance, and the animations are really well done. The sound design is really well done, with plenty of audio cues for gameplay and background sounds that really add to the atmosphere of each level, and the music is actually pretty impressive. All of the tracks that you hear in the game are fully orchestrated and really fit the jungle theme of the game as well as the gameplay of each level. Another impressive thing about Tarzan Untamed is that the game actually runs really well. The gameplay is very fast and smooth, and I have no way of knowing what the exact frame rate is, but when I play it, it feels like it's running anywhere from 30 to 60 frames per second, which is really awesome. So from a production point of view, Tarzan Untamed is very impressive with decent voice acting, good looking cutscenes that are nicely animated, pretty good graphics all around in terms of the style they were going for, great in-game animations, immersive sound design, really good music that fits the game, and the game runs really well. All that is well and good, but the problem here is with the length and amount of content in Tarzan Untamed, and there's actually quite a few problems with the gameplay, so let's go ahead and get into that now. Tarzan Untamed's story mode takes place over the course of 9 levels, 3 boss fights, and 3 bonus bungee levels. Across the 9 levels are 3 different types of gameplay, being exploration, surfing, and skiing. In the exploration levels, you will be on foot in a linear level with a few branching paths from time to time that can be unlocked. You will be running, jumping, attacking other humans and animals, climbing, swinging on vines, and grinding on various objects like you're on a skateboard. You can also pick up certain things to use as spears against enemies and to knock down vines to swing on. While you are grinding, and sometimes when performing other actions, you can do tricks like a skateboarder to increase your score in the level. The problem is that the gameplay is very generic and the exploration levels are very linear and easy, so it's pretty boring sometimes. Then we have the surfing levels, where you are essentially surfing down a raging river, avoiding obstacles until you make it to the end. These levels are somewhat fun, but also very easy and super short. Finally, we have the water skiing levels, where you're being pulled along and you are just skiing through the level, avoiding a ton of obstacles and enemies in an effort to make it to the end. Again, these are also somewhat fun but short, and they're not as easy, but the difficulty in the skiing levels is kind of in a cheap and frustrating way. I also saw a lot of what felt like the same level design recycled at times, which made me think the developers ran out of ideas. In all three of these types of levels, there are a certain number of reels of film to find, and you will actually need to find several of these to complete the game, because eventually there's a random requirement for them to progress to the last few levels. There are also 3 bonus levels where you bungee off a cliff, and your goal is to dodge all the obstacles on the way down to build up enough gravity to get a reel of film in the water. They are not really all that fun and felt like the developers were just trying to last minute add more content. And then we have the 3 boss levels, if that's what you want to call them. They're really dumb. Basically, each boss is an interactive cutscene where you have to repeatedly press the B button until you see a button combination, and then hit the proper button combination before the time runs out. That is it. The first boss you have to do it once, second boss 2 times, and third boss 3 times. They're just not fun at all and felt like an unnecessary waste of time. How anyone thought that was a good idea is mind-boggling. So what we have here is a good variety in the gameplay, but the problem is that no one gameplay element is fleshed out, and it is all very generic, simple, mundane, and boring. And to make matters worse, the game is incredibly short with very little replay value. It only took me about 2 or 3 hours to beat the whole game. It looks like the average time to complete the main story is around 3.5 hours, and the average time to do everything the game has to offer is around 9.5 hours. Hell, even the fastest speedrun is only 39 minutes and 20 seconds. Now, you do have the Turk challenge mode, where you can play 3 special challenges on each level, like the trick challenge, where you are trying to do tricks until you reach a certain score, or the speed challenge, where you're trying to complete the level as quick as possible. And there are a few more, but to be honest, none of these challenges are fun. They all felt very tedious, and I felt no motivation to complete them. And that's the extent of the content. It is very disappointing, which makes me happy that Tarzan Untamed is not a very expensive game. Ultimately, to me, it just feels like a cash grab, and the game feels somewhat rushed and uninspired. To sum up my thoughts, the presentation, graphics, animations, voice acting, music, and sound design are all pretty good, but the game is way too short. There's not enough content, and the content that is there is full of shallow and boring gameplay that is very unforgettable. Disney's Tarzan Untamed is not a terrible game. I did at least have some fun while playing it, but at the end of the day, it's just an average to below average game for me, and I don't see myself ever playing it again. And unless you are just a super fan of Tarzan, I recommend skipping this game. At the time of this recording on Metacritic, the GameCube version of Tarzan Untamed has a critic score of 61 out of 100 with 11 critic reviews, and a user score of 7 out of 10 with 10 user ratings. It sold decently well, but nothing amazing, as according to VGCharts.com, the GameCube version sold around 140,000 units in North America and around 180,000 units worldwide, whereas the PS2 version was a bit more successful with 200,000 units in North America and around 410,000 units worldwide. Tarzan Untamed is a pretty common and cheap game still, as at the time of this recording I am seeing price charting loose prices at around $5, complete prices at around $6, and new prices at around $18. At the time of this recording, I'm seeing current eBay listings complete at around $9 to $10, and I'm seeing recent eBay sold listings complete at around $8 to $10. This is not a game I see being rare or expensive anytime soon, so if you're a collector, I don't see any need to rush on this one. You're likely to find it super cheap at a flea market or yard sale. Well, there you have it, folks. That is GameCube Gallery on Disney's Tarzan Untamed. If you enjoyed this video, be sure and hit that like button and let me know in the comments down below, what do you think about Disney's Tarzan Untamed. If you have played it, let me know in the comments down below. Also, let me know in the comments down below if there's any games you would like to see me cover in a future episode of GameCube Gallery. As always, folks, if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing so that you can join the Retro Wolf family. Stay safe out there, keep playing games and having a good time, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Later.